Hey everyone, Kayley, your friendly neighborhood hairstylist with AnnaLaura. Today, we're getting our hair colored. Da-na-na, da-na-na. We are both heading into the salon to get our hair colored, and we thought we would bring you guys along with us because we do get questions about what we ask for.
Yeah.
It makes sense because you guys see it a lot, and if you want anything similar, it's helpful to know. I also think sometimes when you're talking to a hairstylist, it feels like you have to speak a foreign language.
Oh, for sure.
To get what you want.
Absolutely.
And so, hairstylist here, non-hairstylist here, let's see if we can talk through both what we ask for and maybe like ways that you can talk to your stylist. We're gonna vlog it a little bit today. We're gonna take you guys on the road with us to actually see the process. We'll have some stuff in here. It's gonna be a nice little mix. I'm gonna show you what I'm going for here, sissy.
Okay.
So I have this running board going of things that I like. Some of these are like my haircut, some of these are hair color. So this is the one I'm feeling the most today. This is from Justin Anderson Color. The reason that I like it, when I'm looking at it, I see the placement up top, I see the highlights and the dimension, and I see the really bright ends if I cover it up to like my collarbone length, so how it would be on me. Maybe a skosh brighter at the top, but generally that's what I like for like how the highlights look, how the contrast looks. And I don't actually mind the tone too much, but it looks a little bit warm on that blue backdrop, a little bit yellow. And so I'm looking around at some other stuff that I have saved, and I like this one. Ooh. It's a really pretty pearl. I don't know if I need to go fully that light or not. We will talk about it, but I love the placement. I think I would bring these highlights from the front, carry it to the back because the back is still kind of dark. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking today. I don't know if you guys notice, what I'm doing when I'm pulling up these pictures is I'm looking at what am I drawn to when I see this picture. So in the first one, I'm like, oh yeah, I really love how you can see highlights and lowlights up at the top, but it's also not straight. I like that the ends are brighter than everything else, so you still get that really sun-kissed moment. But I'm also looking at it and I'm like, it looks a little yellow. I don't know if it's that picture, I don't know. So let me go and find something else where I think the hair is a tone that I like. And then if you have anything when you're looking at stuff like this where you're like, oh, I really would not like it if that happened, I actually have a couple pictures of my own hairstyles in here where you can see this really dark bit in the interior of the hair, because hairstylists like to leave that because it adds contrast, and when you're not doing what I do for a living, it's fine. But I hate when I'm making hairstyles and then I have these big black holes in the hairstyle. So I always show that to him because I always want to remind him, like, yeah, I get it. Don't leave my interior dark. So yeah, that's probably what I'm going to bring up.
That is why I said we needed to do this video, because I have never looked at pictures and been able to pull them apart in the way that you do.
It's good to practice. Another thing that's good to do is like cover up the person's face and look at the hair.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm guilty of like, that person is really pretty.
Right.
And like, first of all, practice self-love and look at the hair. Let's look at what you're thinking about, sissy sis. What did you do? Did you save pictures?
Saved some photos. I have them in a folder, kind of like yours. The thing about my folder is, when I look at your folder, everything looks cohesive and it all works together. And then when I look at mine, I'm like, wow, I have a lot of different stuff going on.
Yeah, so actually, I would say that's probably more normal. I mean, it's a decent variety, but it is consistent, actually. Okay. Talk to me like you're gonna talk to Jordan. Let's practice.
Okay, so I am a sucker for dimension. I love
that one's very pretty.
Being able to see the lowlights and the highlights. And I like for the highlights to even be dimensional with like the tone almost. Like I like some cooler and some warmer mixed into it.
I definitely see that in the picture.
And then I do like a good bit of root still.
Yeah, you like a rooted look because you like to be able to grow out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is a nice thing to ask for if you know that you go a long time between hair colors, is asking for a rooted look.
From experience of getting my hair done, I know I like the ends to be like brighter and like kind of a pop and more have like that icy tone to them. I feel like this one is the one I want the most.
So that is a good thing to do, is to pick out your top like 1 to 3 pictures and see if you can like point out what you like the most. You described everything I'm seeing in this picture.
Oh, great.
There's dimension, there's root, there's multi-tones in the highlights. The only thing that you described that I don't necessarily see represented in this picture is like a poppier end, like a brighter end.
Yeah.
But your other pictures can really help with that. But in general, you are really consistent. So, okay, I'm looking at this as a hairstylist. And see. No, you say that after the scene.
Oh, yeah.
I think this one, with what I already know about you, is really, really great. I'm seeing some warmth, some kind of coppery almost tones in here. How do you feel about, you said that you like warmer and cooler.
I would say this one is like 70% warm, 30% cool, and I would like it to be opposite, like 70% cool, 30% warm.
That makes sense. How do you feel about this with, maybe, you already used the percentages, so let's keep going with that, like 20%, 30% more highlights in it?
Yeah.
Or maybe instead of adding highlights, we add midtones, so you have the dark and the light that you already see in this picture, so you get those kind of mid-tone ones in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like that.
See, and that's actually possible very easily because your hair is already so highlighted. So when your hairstylist goes through, he can highlight some of these bits to pop them back out. And then what's already blonde here is going to exist as your midtones most likely.
Oh, wow. That feels like a little bit of a bargain to me. I already paid for these.
Is there anything that you prefer to avoid, that you don't like in?
I think I don't like a really harsh highlight on the root line. Like, I like it to be bright, but I don't like it to be, like, white blonde.
That makes sense. I think that's all really consistent. I think I get your vision.
Yeah.
I think Jordan will.
And I will say, like, even though I'm not a hairstylist, I have spent a lot of time analyzing photos like this with you. So even, like, being able to pull that up, like, let's say 5 years ago, I don't think I would have done that. I would have, like, clicked on the picture and be like, oh, I like this, and I like this, and I like this. And I would have walked in the hairstylist with, like, maybe these 3 pictures and, like, seen their feedback from there.
We do kind of know hair terminology pretty well at this point, and maybe that's the part that people get scared by.
Right.
So it's okay. I think one of the most confusing things is when people try to use hair terminology and they don't know what they're talking about.
That's true.
So don't feel pressure to use the words if you don't know what they mean. I don't know, if you can try to figure out, like, I like that I can see the highlights. I like that I can see the lowlights and the highlights.
Yeah.
Just start making a list of, like, I like.
And they don't have to be in, like, hair terms, because I think it can get really confusing if you're like, oh, I love the balayage here, or I love that, and you're, like, trying to make it work. That's not necessarily a consistent thing for every hairstylist.
It's true. Hairstylists do use a lot of different terms. So another good thing you can do is to ask your hairstylist, like, you can tell them this is what I see, and you can ask, what do you see when you look at this picture? And that way you can check and see if you're both on the same page.
Yeah.
So if he starts being like, you know what I really like is these really white blonde pieces. I think we should really focus on the white blonde and leave as much of this natural brown as possible, so you just have a lot of white blonde pieces.
Right.
Which is when you would be like, so that's not what we're talking about.
And you can get the same thing from looking at that photo, though.
Exactly. I would say that's why I say pick, like, a top 3 probably.
Yeah.
And that way you can go through that. Hopefully they look, they're somewhat consistent, but if they are inconsistent, that gives you guys a chance to talk through your different ideas.
Yeah.
And ask them that question for every single one, and hopefully by the end you guys are able to, like, connect.
When I sit down in the chair, I really feel pressured to make a decision right then and to be as fast as possible and get the color in my hair as fast as possible. Because I feel like I'm wasting their time when I have that conversation. But I would say, that's something that I've learned, like, embrace that time when you're talking and really, like, wait until you're on the same page and you're not wasting their time to talk to you.
No, I think actually from the other side of the chair, my most disappointing experiences have been when a client and I didn't converse well and I gave them something they didn't want, and either I had to give up my time to redo it or they left unhappy with what I did.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you waste time both times. Yeah. So it's fair to both you and your hairstylist to make sure you're on the same page. You're not wasting anybody's time.
Yeah.
Take up that space. You're all right.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe don't take 45 minutes.
Right.
But there's a whole spectrum in there.
Yeah.
You are more than allowed to take more than 30 seconds to a minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15. Get on the same page. All right, so that's what we're doing. We're going to head over to the salon, get Jordan to give us his thoughts.
Yep.
Because he's always going to put in his little 2 cents.
Yep.
And then we'll show you guys what we do.
Bye.
Bye. And we're back and we're blonde. That was really over the top, but honestly, it's how I feel.
Yeah.
You look
We are blonde, baby.
I feel like a new woman.
I got you cut too.
Oh yeah, I cut AnnaLaura's hair.
Oh my god.
Looking great. And you got a tan on, like,
It's a good day for me.
it better be date night.
It's going to be. It's
Hey.
about to be. I'm craving sushi, so that's happening now.
Take me with you. So even before we hit up the salon, AnnaLaura and I made sure to put treatments in our hair to make sure that everything was nice and moisturized before we got started. Then we had a fun little consult with Jordan. Hey Jordan.
Hello.
So I think it's time for a refresh. I was looking at some pictures. I was kind of thinking, kind of like this one for placement.
Yeah, love that.
I like the contrast. I like the brighter ends. I feel like I might want, like, just a little bit more highlight in here, but open to that. I just like the contrast and the dimension.
Yeah.
I feel like it might be a little warm for me.
that's too warm.
I don't know if it's the blue throwing me off or what. What do you think?
Yeah, the contrast of that could have something to do with it, but
Okay.
I think it's pretty neutral.
Okay,
So-
then I will trust you on that
Yeah.
because I kept looking at other pictures and I was like, well, everything else looks like a little icier than I
That's
want.
all cooler than the first photo you just showed me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like those tones.
Love that.
Okay, let's go with that then.
Cool.
All right, that's easy. So based on that, what would you say you're gonna do to my hair?
So probably brighten up your ends, and then just gonna go in and soften out your root area,
Okay.
and just kind of lighten everything up.
Are we talking like baby lights? Are we talking
Yeah, just a lot of highlights.
a lot of highlights?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you tone it, are we gonna try to tone
Beigey.
beigey?
Yeah,
Okay.
soft and beigey. So not too ashy, but just enough to cancel any unwanted yellow.
That makes sense. How would you tell a person watching how to ask for that?
Just a clean, bright blonde.
Yeah, tell your stylist to keep it as clean and bright as possible.
Yes.
So when I showed Jordan the pictures, he actually thought it wasn't very warm. He thought it was a good tone for me. And so I was like, all right, we'll do it. So then to achieve that broken up but still very highlighted look, he did baby lights, which is a very, very thin slice, and did them, it felt like about a 1/2 inch to 3/4 inches apart.
We went very blonde.
Yeah, we went quite blonde. And then he did concentrate it a lot more around my front hairline so that when you're looking at me from the front and when I'm looking at myself in the mirror, it looks very, very blonde. And then my hair didn't need a ton of toning. It actually kind of lightened to the right shade. Who knew?
Wow. Congratulations.
Yeah, I know. Weird flex, but okay. And as he was going, he did wash out bits at a time as certain pieces were ready. Then once they were all done, we did a little shampoo, little bleach wash to get all the extra stuff off my hair. And then it was time for a root bump.
Ooh.
That basically just means that he puts a little bit of a darker toner over my roots to help blend the base of those highlights in. So for me, he used a 7M to just get a nice light brown in there to kind of make sure everything looked nice at the very root of my hair. And then for the ends, he did a little bit of 9GB and 9V to help make sure everything was still like a pretty golden brown, but not too brassy. And that was my hair. Haha!
It turned out so, so pretty.
All right, so then for you,
For mine, I mean, basically, I told him what I always tell him, that I just want a lot of dimension. I want a lot of multi-tonal highlights.
All right. Okay, I'm super excited to get my hair done today because people have started asking
while.
me if I've gotten my hair darkened. That's not a good
not
thing.
good.
I mean, the last time you did my hair, it was stunning. Just pull that up for a second. That was like my favorite. I loved that you kept it super rooted and that there was the dimension there, and I love the multi-tonal aspect of it. I think my favorite like inspo pick would be like this one. The only thing here is I feel like there's maybe a little more of like
rooty.
that brassy. I do like the roots, but I want to bring the light up. So I want it to be light, like up higher
I'm
than
seeing
hers.
some warmth in there.
And I do like it multi-tonal, but I think like have the ratios flipped. Like if it's 70% warm, 30% cool in this picture, I would rather be flipped. So
Okay.
there's a little more cool tones.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the blonde is like a vanilla.
That seems like me.
It's like it's
Very
not,
vanilla.
It's not too ashy. It's just nice and
Yeah.
clean.
I've been
White.
seeing a lot of that like almost like buttery
Yep.
blonde. I
Yeah,
would
I
love
love
that.
that.
Yeah?
I think everything kind of in the interior has kind of gotten to be one color. So I think actually today on you, I think you just need a little bit of like glossing in the mid shaft, a little bit of kind of like stretching your root back out before we highlight. After we highlight through it and soften your roots,
Yeah.
that will create that dimension that you're looking for.
You really ask him to put highlights all throughout the back and the inside of my hair.
that way we better for hairstyling.
Yes.
And boy, did he. You couldn't see it, but basically he did baby lights back to back. So he let down a very thin section. He took just the tiniest like line of hairs and that went on a foil, and then he let down another tiny like 1/8 of an inch section
Oh, wow.
all through your entire head of
Wow.
hair.
I mean, I knew I was blonder for sure. I was like, wow, this is like the blondest I've been in a long time.
So yeah, he actually did the same kind of baby lighting technique, but you had probably 2 to 3 times more foils than I did.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the whole like washout process, there was about 5 rounds of that. Of like, once one was done, I would like go and get it washed out, and then I would sit, and
Yeah.
it was in sections for sure.
And this was kind of like a more full-on one for you. Basically,
Yeah.
whenever you're keeping up a highlighted look, it ends up being kind of like you come in for a partial, and then sometimes you have to
Right.
get a full just to everything
Yeah.
together.
This was one of my needing a full moment.
And then he bumped your roots with 8 in, which is actually a little lighter than mine because you got blonder than I did.
And also because my hair takes it darker. Because he's always talking about how if he puts a 7 on my hair, it pulls so dark. Like everyone would guess it was a 6. And he's always super fast about like getting it off.
And then what did he tone you with?
He did a 9V and a 9T.
Oh, yeah. So he did mostly clear with capfuls of 9V and 9T. And that's in Redken shades.
Yeah.
Just to get you to your nice, beautiful, buttery beige tone.
Yes, and buttery was the word I used this time. Definitely, I feel like what was achieved. It is warmer than I usually go. I think I usually ask for a little more icy, but I love it.
So the overall look is super natural because when you do that back-to-back baby lights, it's literally like it's growing out of your head, that light. It takes so much work, but the result is really natural and really pretty. But overall, that's the look. You look like all-American blonde right now. It's amazing.
I love it.
I was thinking about our little tips on saving pictures and like figuring stuff out. And I was thinking, you know, sometimes you don't always know what you like. Like you're like, I can't even figure out like a top 3.
Yeah.
I think the move is literally save everything that pops out to you. Because you, might find that it's more cohesive than you think, like you did.
Yeah, that's true.
And B, at least you can go through, if it's not, you can go through like tournament style and be like, okay, what am I drawn to about this one versus this one? And you can kind of battle it out. Be like, oh, okay, well, I like the contrast. I like how her light hair looks with that dark hair. But, you know, like that kind of stuff. And start figuring out for you more of what's actually at play and what's not. It's okay to throw everything into that file and then weed out. Just kind of like when you're shopping online. Just throw everything in the cart and then take stuff out.
That's how we shop anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to talk a little aftercare?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this because I actually just realized how incredibly damaged my hair was after my first shower.
Yeah, so I've been enjoying the benefits in that, like, once you bleach your hair, it's a lot more porous. So it actually, like, absorbs the oils from your scalp and you get an extra day or two between washes. It's a big reason that I love getting highlights. And obviously, like, your curl takes better. So I've been really enjoying that. But you're right, there's some downsides.
Yeah,
like,
there
overly porous. Maybe it's more tangly. It feels more dry.
More tangly. Hold on. Can we just talk about that for a second? I've only washed my hair once since we got the color done. Just washed it yesterday. And literally, I went to, run my hands through it, and I couldn't get past this. Usually, I can get to, here before I start hitting knots. I literally couldn't move my hands through my hair.
Yeah. No, that happened to me too, but I actually, I was trying to give myself finger waves and there was a lot of gel, so I thought that was just the gel. Ever have a random moment where you just want to try to see if you remember finger waves from cosmetology school and you just start doing it on your own head? No, just me? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so the biggest thing you need to do, obviously, is rehydrate, remoisturize. The more moisture you can get back in there, the more it helps to heal. And then there are products out there that are meant to help make your hair stronger and heal it afterwards. So I would say with the degree of dryness and tangling that she's saying she's having, you're going for a deep conditioner every shower until it starts to feel more like your normal hair again.
Okay.
I don't know how long that's going to take. It might be 2, it might be 5, you might be doing it for a couple months. So yeah, you're going to be going for those deep, like thick conditioners for you.
The butter.
The butter. Yes. And then probably a leave-in treatment that's meant to enhance strength and moisture, like the Don't Despair Repair from Briogeo.
Yeah.
If you manage to snag their special edition Honey Bear, that would be a good one.
So cute.
I love it so much. I also really love, as like a leave-in treatment, the Living Proof Restore Perfecting Spray, or their little, there's another one that's in a purple little pump. Both of those are really good. When I was using them religiously, my hair was, it's like healthiest that it's been. And then obviously for you a detangler, because you don't want to break any hairs. Yeah. For me, what I'm doing, my hair is like, a lot of this is fresh, as in like it just grew out of my head and it's been bleached for the first time. So I get kind of a little bit of a break in the sense that I'm not dealing with that full situation, but I also need to be proactive or else I'm gonna end up there. Like, one of the benefits of having shorter hair is that I get to restart my growth and try to keep it all nice and healthy, but that means that I have to try to keep it all nice and healthy. So I don't need to do the moisturizing as much as you do. I would say I probably am gonna be doing it every other shower for a little while. I have the Kerastase one in my shower right now, and it did a good job in my last shower, so loved that. Detangling, I always use some kind of leave-in spray, so that will help me. I am gonna try to use more like minimal heat for...
Jordan told me that.
Yeah, stay away from heat for a while. And also within a couple of weeks, I want to do a clear gloss on my hair. You can just pick up like Kristen S's clear gloss. I'm actually going to try that one for the first time in a couple weeks. Yeah,
that's fun.
Because that helps to seal your hair. Because as the toner washes out, the porosity of your hair is more and more exposed, which means that it can absorb more and more minerals and make your blonde look darker or more dingy or discolored or brassy. So I'm gonna give it a little second because we're not trying to put like clear on top of clear, but I'm also gonna do it pretty soon so that like it keeps everything shiny, keeps everything locked in, keeps my color going a little longer.
I was like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna put heat on it.
I don't know, like I still might do it like twice a week, but I'm trying to get it down to be less than every
Maybe
day.
that just means that we need to do a little more heatless content.
Yeah.
For now.
Okay, but I think that's it about our hair.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did we answer all of your questions?
I hope so, but if not, leave them in the comments below.
Yeah, we'll get to them.
Hey, that's Sister Hive Mind at work. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button to help support my channel.
And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button to join the Braidaholic family here on Kayley Melissa.
And of course, every single one of you guys can ring that bell to be notified every time I post a new video.
But that's it for today.
Whether you're old
Or new.
or a casual lurker,
Thank you for spending time with us.
and I'll see you in my next video.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye. New hair, who dis?
Hoo-hee. Hoo-hee.
Hoo-hee. What?
Wah, wah, wah. Sisters, sisters. La 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 la
You see my casual lurker?
la.
To doin.
To doin.